a assistant professor in college, that is Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today I am going to start with the subject, that is data communication networks. Its code is KEC 063, and I am going to begin I will begin with the first part of this, or the first unit of this subject, that is introduction to networks and data communication. So, in this lecture we will study about what is communication, how the network will going to form, what are the different components of a particular network, and so on. So, these are the contents of my lecture. First one is data communication, introduction of data and communication, then networks, and then we will see the topic, that is the internet. So, this is the introduction of data communication. So, what we will understand about data, we will first break this data communication into two letters, or you can say two words. First one is data, another is communication. So, first we will focus on communication. Whenever we set up a link between a transmitter and a receiver, what is transmitter? Transmitter which a source which is going to generate a particular information, so that it will going to reach to a particular destination or the receiver. So, this is the transmitter. Receiver is the one that will going to receive the information. So, that is the receiver part. So, this is communication. Now, communication is a kind of link that will be set up between the transmitter and receiver, so that the proper transferring of information will take place. Now, here a new word will be introduced, that is known as tele. What is this? Is tele. Now, tele means this one, tele. Tele means it is distance, means you are transferring the information, you are communicating over a longer distance, that is known as telecommunication. You have heard about words like telepathy or telegram, means you are transferring. In case of telegram, what we are going to do? We are transferring, or we are sending the message in the form of a letter to a distant place. Telepathy, we are providing the medicinal work, we are accessing the particular person at a longer distance, which are present, which are not, which are present in a remote area. So, that is known as telepathy. So, the term telecommunication means communication at a distance. Now, the word data refers to the information that is presented in whatever form. Now, whatever form means, if I want to transmit a image, if I want to transmit a text, if I want to transmit a particular message which may be in a different language also. So, that is in whatever form, means the raw data. We are not going to process that original data. Maybe its frequency will be less, maybe it cannot transmit over a longer distance. So, that is what the data is all about. It is the raw information that we want to transmit from the transmitter to the receiver. So, that is the data. If we are going to process that particular data, that will change to in the form of information. Information is known as the data in the processed form. So, that is the basic difference between the data and the information. So, the word data refers to the information that is presented in whatever form is agreed upon by the parties creating and using the data. Now, what is parties? Parties means if there are two people are involved in communication, they agreed on transferring the information in, let us say, in French language, then it means that the information should be in the French language. So, that will, it means that the two parties, transmitter and receiver, these are agreed on carrying or transferring the information in that particular language. So, that is a kind of telecommunication, that is an example of telecommunication, means you are transferring the information over a longer distance. The it is not accessible, the transmitter and receiver, they are not present in a room, they are at a longer distance, and both the information will be there in the form in which the two parties, the transmitter and receiver, has agreed on. Now, the data communication are the exchange of data between two devices via some form of transmission medium, such as a wire cable. Now, there is another term which is been now presented here. What is transmission medium? So, I have said that for a communication for transferring the information, you have to generate, you have to set up a link between the transmitter and receiver. Now, there are two types of links are there. It may be a direct connection, means point to point connection will be there. We will going to see the diagram in the upcoming slides. There is a transmission medium, a wired connection will be set up between the transmitter and receiver, and definitely the distance between that will be finite. You cannot connect the transmitter and receiver in thousands of kilometers. In that situation, in that case, the broadcasting or the non-wired communication will take place. So, there are basically two types of transmission medium are there. First one is wired, another is the wireless communication. So, data communication means the data will be sent in the original form. First thing, it will be transmitted over a longer distance, and third point is that which has to be noted, that it can be transferred over a wired communication through a wire, or without any wire setup, the information can be sent. Now, next we will see what are the components of communication. So, till now we have discussed about what is data, what is communication, how the setup will be done between the transmitter and receiver, whether it is wired or it will be wireless. So, next we will see what are the components of communication. So, there are basically 5 components are there for an effective communication. First component is the sender. What is sender? Sender is nothing, it is a transmitter only, which will going to generate the original information. Like I am delivering a lecture here. So, this is a kind of, I am an information source, I am generating a speech signal, or I am generating a speech in the form of a speech signal, and audio signal will be generated, that is a 1D signal, kind of 1D signal. So, I am the sender only. So, and also I am the transmitter, I want to transmit the information to a receiver. So, this is the first component of the communication. Second component of the communication is the receiver. Receiver is the person to which I want to transmit the information, or whatever information, like let us take an example of sending an email. Now, in email we are transferring the information in the text form. Now, this text form will be transmitted to the receiver, and it may be a receiver, can be one receiver, receiver can be more than one receiver. In case of more than one receiver, it is a kind of broadcasting, like TV signals, only one transmitter will be there, and there you can imagine that how many number of receivers are there for a TV signal. So, that is an example of multi-point communication, or you can say an example of broadcasting communication. So, this is the second component of the communication. Now, the third component is the medium. So, what is medium? As you can see from this diagram, that there is a red line, or the connection is set up between the sender and the receiver. So, what is medium? Medium is nothing, it is a link that has been set up between the transmitter and receiver, or the sender and receiver. So, there are basically two types of mediums are there. First one is wired, another is wireless. So, there are basically two types of mediums are there, wired and wireless. So, what is wired? In case of wired, different types of wires are present, like twisted pair cable, coaxial cable, or optical fiber, depending on the application, depending on the distance that has to be covered between the transmitter and the receiver, or the sender and receiver. We can use any kind of wire. So, that is means you are establishing a wire between, establishing a connection, physical connection between the transmitter and receiver, and of course, it will going to use for a it will going to cover a very short distance. But in case of wireless, what it is, we are not establishing a direct connection between the transmitter and receiver, we are just broadcasting our information. It is a kind of wireless communication or connection-less communication. This is done using different frequency waves that are available, like microwave link are there, radio frequency link are there, or different types of frequency ranges are there, in which range we can transmit our information. Now, the third type of fourth component of the communication is the message signal. What is message signal? What is message? Whatever information I am having for transmission purpose, it is in the raw form or it is in the processed form, like data is converted into information in the processed form. So, that is known as message signal. Now, message, it can be 1D signal, means if it is a audio signal, it is 1D signal. If it is a speech signal, then 1D signal. 2 dimensional signals, example is image, any picture you want to transmit. 3D signals are there, 3D messages are videos. So, these are the 3 different types of three-dimensional different types of messages are there. So, this is the fourth component of communication. Now, fifth component of the communication, which is most important, is the protocol. What is protocol? So, there is a slight difference between the protocol and a syntax. Syntax you must have heard about if you are studying any kind of language like C, C++, Python. So, there is a kind of syntax is there, like it may be a case sensitive, there are different commands are there which is specific to either C language, C++ or Python. So, that is a part of syntax, but in protocol these are set of rules are there that has to be agreed or that has to be decided by the transmitter and the receiver. So, that the proper communication will take place. Now, you can see that there are n number of rules are there, there may be 2 rules, there may be 3 rules, like I have taken an example that the transmitter and receiver wants to transmit their information, receive their information in French language. So, that is a kind of protocol only. So, they are following that protocol. It may be possible that these these transmitter and receiver will not going to use another set of transmitter and receiver will not going to use that particular set of protocol. So, there are n number of rules that has to be agreed on. So, I am going to summarize this components of communication. There are 5 different components of communication are there. First one is the sender, the transmitter or the transmitter, which is the generator of information. Second one is the receiver, the person or the device to which the information will going to be received. Third one is the medium, it may be connection oriented, it may be connectionless. Fourth one is the message, it may be a 1D signal, 2D signal, 3D signal, text message, audio signal, an image or a video that you want to transmit. Fifth and the foremost component of the communication is the protocol. There are set of rules that has to be agreed by the transmitter and receiver both. Now, next we will move to data flow. There are 3 different types of data flow options are there that we are having. Like first one is the simplex one, second is half duplex, third one is the full duplex one. I am going to explain it one by one. First one is simplex. This is the direction of the data, as you can see that this is unidirectional, means in one direction it will going to transmit the information. There is no such situation where the receiver will going to send that particular information back to the transmitter. So, that is the case for simplex. This is the mainframe, this is the generator of information, or you can say it is the transmitter, or you can say it is the sender. So, that is an example of mainframe. Now, the receiver is the monitor. So, in this way you can say that this is the direction of data transmission, which is unidirectional from left side to the right side. So, this is the basic, or you can say the simplest kind of data flow, that is the simplex one. Sorry. Next one is the half duplex. In this half duplex, there are both options are available. Transmitter can transmit the data to the receiver and receiver can transmit the data back to the transmitter. So, this is the, you can say, direction of data at time 1 and direction of data at time 2. So, this is from left to right and the second one is from right to the left one. So, but there is one condition that is associated with this half duplex, that it will not going to transmit in both direction at the same point of time. Like you can see that the time is decided over here, time 1 and time 2. It means for the first half of the duration or for the particular time slot, only the transmitter will going to transmit the data, receiver will receive, and in the another point of time the receiver will going to transmit the data towards the transmitter. So, this is the condition for half duplex. Now, the third one is the full duplex, in which the transmission and the reception will be done at the same point of time. Sorry, it will not going to, it will be done at the same point of time. There is no need to wait that the receiver will going to receive the data or the transmitter will going to transmit the data. They can transmit at the same point of time. So, that is the data flow. Simplex one, unidirectional, half duplex, transmit in both the direction, but at different point of time, not at the same point of time, means simultaneous transmission and reception will not take place. In case of full duplex, transmission and reception will take place at the same point of time. Next is the networks. What is networks? The network is a set of devices connected. That devices is also known as nodes. Now, these nodes can be computers only or any device which are associated or which are connected in a particular network, so that the transmission and reception will take place. Like I am going to take an example, like this is device first, this is device second, device third, and this is device 4. So, this is a kind of network that I have formed. These network, this will be used for the transmission, this will be used for the reception. So, there are basically 4 nodes are there or 4 computers are there which are connected to form a network. So, these are also known as nodes or known as computers or any kind of device. Maybe a printer will act as a node. So, this is an example, like printer or any other device capable of sending or receiving the data generated by the other nodes on the network. So, this is an introduction of network. Now, what are the connections that can be set up in a network? There are 2 types of connection that I have said, that in case of wired communication, there is point to point communication as link set up between the transmitter and receiver. This is known as point to point. Only one transmitter and only one receiver will be there between the transmitter and receiver. In case of multi point, there are more than one receiver, greater than one receivers are there, and this is only one transmitter. So, this is a case for broadcasting also. In case of broadcasting, there is more than one receivers are there. So, this is the type, these 2 are the types of connections that has been set up for the proper communication. Now, we will see, we have seen data communication, how the communication is being done associated with different types of systems like simplex, half duplex and full duplex. Now, we will see that how the devices are connected in a particular network. So, that is known as topology. Topology means if there are 4 devices, how these 4 devices are connected to form a network. So, there are 4 different types of topologies. First one is mesh, star, second one, third one is bus, and fourth one is the ring topology. So, there are different types of topologies are there. We will see each one by one. First one is the mesh topology. What is mesh topology? As you can see that there are 5 different stations or 5 different nodes are connected to form a network. Now, you can see that each node is connected to every other node directly. Means if if this device wants to transmit the data to this device, it can directly transmit to this device. So, what are the number of a formula is associated with this mesh topology, that what are the number of connections that has to be set up between the mesh topology. That formula is known as n into n minus 1 divided by 2, which is number of links that has been set up in a mesh. What is n? N is the number of nodes that is connected in a particular network. Like here 5 nodes are there, then you can calculate the number of links. This is the mesh topology. Second type of topology is the star topology. In case of star topology, you can see that here a hub is associated with this star topology. This connection is hub centered, you can say. Any device wants to transmit the data has to be transmitted through this hub only. It cannot directly transmit from this device from station 1 to station 2. Let us say there are 4 stations are there. If whatever information is transmitted through this is to be transmitted, it has to be transmitted through this hub. So, what is the disadvantage of this star topology? The main disadvantage is the security. Security means because a third party is involved in this communication, in this network setup, that is hub, it has to be, the data has to be shared with this hub only. If a third party access is there with the hub, then the information leakage or from the security point of view there is an issue. So, that is the second kind of topology. Third type of topology is the bus topology. What is bus topology? As you can see that this is a kind of bus that has been set up. This is the cable and means to any device you can connect. These are you can connect to any device, and there are different 3 stations are there, and these stations are connected through tap to this main, you can say, the backbone of this network. So, what is the disadvantage of this topology? That this backbone should function well. If there is any breakage or something is wrong with this line, then there will be connection will not the communication will not take place well. So, that is the bus topology. Now, fourth type of topology is the ring topology. Now, in case of ring topology, you can see here that the repeaters are used. What are repeaters? Repeaters are nothing, these are the devices that will going to repeat the information. Means it first thing, it can be used for a longer distance communication. It can be used for longer distance communication, and repeaters are used. So, the quality of the signal will be maintained from one device to another device. So, this is the kind of ring topology you can see. So, there are 4 to 5 different stations are connected in a ring form. There is an issue of security is also there, because if this device wants to transmit the data to this device, then it has to pass through these 2 stations, or it has to pass through these 2 stations. These stations will going to listen or will going to grab the information that the first station and the last station wants to communicate on. So, there is a kind of security issue will be there. So, from the security point of view, you can imagine that mesh topology is best for because there is a direct connection will be set up between the transmitter and receiver. Now, the last type of topology, that is the hybrid topology. Now, if you can see that in this topology there are 2 topologies are involved. First one is the star topology, next one is the bus topology. How? That in this case you can see this is first bus, this is second bus, and this is third bus. Three buses are involved, and these buses are connected through a hub. So, that will form a case of star topology. Whatever information will be transmitted, it has to be shared through this hub. So, this is hybrid topology. It is not only that only star topology and bus topology together will make a hybrid topology. You can connect mesh and bus together, star and mesh together. So, depending on the application, 2 topologies can be connected together. Now, the last topic of this lecture is the internet. I think that this topic does not need any introduction. You all are aware with this internet, and from the last 2 years in this pandemic situation, the internet is, because everything is digital now, the internet has revolutionized many aspects of our daily lives. It has affected the way we do the business and as well as the way we spend our leisure time. So, internet is not only used for the professional purpose, means not for study. You can use the internet for net surfing, for Google is the best platform to search anything whatever you want to search about the real time situations and something. So, this is the internet. The internet is a communication system that has brought a wealth of information to our fingertips and organized it for our use. So, this is about internet. It does not require any introduction, everyone knows about what is internet. So, this is the introduction, or this is all about the internet. So, these are the references of the lecture. First is a frozen book and Stellings. So, these books can be followed for these topics. So, I hope all of you have understood about what is data, what is communication, what is telecommunication, different components of communication. Then network, I have talked about that, how the nodes or the computers are connected in a particular network, in what manner they are connected, like mesh topology, star, bus and hybrid topology, and last I have discussed about the internet. So, thank you for this